meeting and approval of the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any, Chuck, are there any public comments?
I didn't look. I don't believe so. No, there are not.
I will stay with your motion to adjourn. Come up with session. So moved. Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, now we'll call the Tuesday, October 10th, 2017 monthly board meeting to order, and I will entertain an approval of the agenda. So moved.
Second.
I need to move the substitute teacher report to requiring action.
There we go. Is that a motion? Make it another.
We'll need a motion in order to move that, yes.
I make a motion to move it off of the consent agenda onto the requiring action.
Second.
I just need a roll call vote on that. Wow. Just can't. Yeah.
Okay, motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Substitute teacher. Okay. Yes.
Okay, first, I'm sorry, we have recognition.
I was going to say,
Slow down, Shannon. We first have the ACT Achievement, and then we have School-Wide Positive Behavior Support Program Awards. And Ms. Hollifield's going to present that information.
oh, sorry.
Okay, we're going to start with the Missouri School-Wide Positive Behavior Support Awards. Basically, the mission of the Missouri School-Wide Positive Behavior Support is to assist schools and districts in establishing and maintaining school environments where the social culture and behavioral supports needed to be an effective learning environment are in place for all of our students. There's 3 different levels. We have a bronze, which recognizes schools that implement the high quality at the universal tier 1. We have silver, which recognizes schools implementing it at tier 1 and targeted tier 2 levels. And then we have gold, recognizing schools that implement with high quality at tier 1, targeted tier 2, and intensive tier 3 levels. So we're going to start tonight with our kindergarten. With silver, they received a silver award. We have Jennifer Cantrell. Just stand right there. Michael Chappell. Jenny Hobeck. Julie Hodges. Pam Lowe. Ashley O'Daniel, and Deb Roddery. And I'm sure they are still over with their kiddos. Okay, 5th grade.
Thank you. I guess they, can they
Okay,
sit down
so
now?
I guess they can. I was going to let them all take a picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me, then I'll just be quiet and shake hands.
Let's get on down.
Sorry.
The next group is our 5th and 6th grade teachers. We have Jasmine Liggett. Jessica O'Gwen, Stephanie Pinkerton, Paige Rabbits, 5th and 6th grade received gold award. And our next is our junior high, also receiving gold. We have Marguerite Fox. Kara McDermott. Brenda Medlin. Donna Turnbow Smith. She's not here. We'd just like to say thank you all. I know there's a lot of hard work and time and organization that goes into this, and I know it's to the benefit of our students, so thank you very much. The next group that I'm going to recognize, a group of students that scored a 30 or above on their ACT. First is Claire Boner. Emma Grimes. Cameron Johnson. Riley No. Sarah Thornton. And Zachary Watkins also received a 30 or above on their ACT. We have one more that I'm going to add to this group. Fidel Akalani. Stand right up there. I'm going to talk a little bit about Fidel here for just a second. Fidel is a senior at SHS. He earned the highest possible ACT composite score of a 36, which is a perfect score. On average, less than 1/10 of 1% of students who take the ACT earn this top score. In the U.S. high school graduating class of 2016, only 2,235 out of nearly 2 million graduates who took the ACT earned a composite score of 36. This ACT consists of English, mathematics, reading, and science, each scored on a scale of 1 to 36. A student's composite score is the average of all 4 test scores. Some students also take the optional ACT writing test. I just want to say, Fidel, that is quite an accomplishment. All 3 of you have a great accomplishment, but the perfect score is outstanding. We're very proud of you, and we wish you all the best. Thank you all.
It's outstanding.
Everybody, I think I got 36 when I added both of mine together.
I was going to say you're free to stay, or you go. You stay. That's awesome. Going into the informational part of the board agenda, first I have the Bob Devereaux Scholarship information, and some of you may or may not know that I was planning on giving you some information tonight about the scholarship. However, it's been delayed, and so the Ed Foundation has not had the opportunity to release that information. So with that, I'm not able to release that information as of yet. So when that information does become available and it does become public, then I will most certainly inform the Board of Education. Next on the agenda is the At-Risk Services Report. I have Mr. Jeff Williams who's going to present that information.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Jeff, come.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'll sit there. This afternoon, I'm going to briefly explain our 3 different programs we have at the Alternative Center. Talk about some of the program goals, and then I've been invited back for the November board presentation to talk about the academic side of the Alternative Center. So let me briefly just go through our 3 distinct programs that we have there. First is our BARC program. BARC is our 5th through 8th grade program. BARC stands for Bulldog Academic Resource Center. Like I said, it's 5th through 8th grade students who have been assigned from either the 5th and 6th grade center or the junior high. And they've been assigned to our building due to behavior issues mostly. It's a small classroom setting. We have a maximum of 15 students in each classroom. One teacher for that classroom plus a teacher's assistant. It's a self-contained classroom. They follow pretty much the same curriculum that they do at the 5th and 6th grade center and the junior high. Of course, with the alternative program, we adjust that to make it work in our building and for that specific student. No electives for these students, but we do have what's an incentive program. If students demonstrate good behavior, we allow them to visit music or art or even PE classes. So for the most part, it is a self-contained classroom. They're in that one classroom all day long. Students are evaluated at the end of each semester. If they meet the criteria, they can return back to their base school. When I say criteria, we're looking at discipline, attendance, and grades. Of course, we want our students to get caught up academically as well as socially. Goal is to provide these students an alternative educational setting for these students in the educational process. We provide a more one-on-one approach and to help these students develop skills that's going to make them successful when they return back to their base school. We have a pretty good success rate in the BARD program of students returning back at the end of the semester, whether it's January or at the end of the school year for the next school year. One program that I think really benefits our BARD program, and we just saw an example of this, is our PBS, School-Wide Positive Behavior Program. At the Alternative Center, it's the 10th year for that program. We are a Tier 3 model of that program. Tier 3, we're doing a lot of interventions, a lot of one-on-one work with those students. We believe that that positive reinforcement and working on skills will benefit each of those students. Currently, we have 23 students in our BARD program. Again, that's a 5th, 6th grade classroom, a 7th grade classroom, and an 8th grade classroom. You combine all three of those, we have 23 students. As the school year goes on, those numbers will go up. So, and hopefully we'll have students return at the end of the semester.
What percentage would you say returning back to the?
Small percentage. We'll have just a handful go back at semester. Probably a little bit higher at the end of the school year for the next school year.
20%, 30%?
Maybe 20.
Okay.
Maybe. So that's BARD program. Any questions about that program?
So if they don't return, then they just come back next year?
They do. For example, if they are a 7th grade student, they return back in their, they'll be in the 8th grade.
8th grade. Okay.
Right across the hall. Let me talk about the New Horizons program. That's the 9th through 12th grade. New Horizons is a true alternative setting for high school students. It's for secondary at-risk students. Students do apply to come to New Horizons. They meet with their high school counselor. They fill out an application. That application comes over to myself and our counselor, Ms. Branson. We review it, we call that student in, and we set up their schedule accordingly. Most of the students who come to New Horizons, they are behind in credits. They're usually a semester or even a full year behind their cohort class. So it's our goal, our objective, is to get them caught up. Our number one goal of that program, as you can see, is for them to graduate. That's our number one goal. We do have block scheduling. What that means, one day is a red day, one day is a black day. So they have the opportunity to take 4 classes on a red day, 4 classes on a black day. So 8 classes total. We're very flexible with our scheduling. Like I said, our number one goal is to help a student graduate. So we will work with that individual student and design a program that will help them be successful. It might be where they only come on red days, or they come on black days. They might only can come half a day. Whatever's going to work. It might be a student who works full-time out in the community. So we want to be very flexible. We're very unique. We have that flexibility to help them be successful and, of course, graduate. Students are with us. If they want to return back to the high school, they can do that at semester. We don't allow any transfers during the semester. They transfer to us but we don't transfer them out until semester, if they so choose to go back. We do have the core subjects, of course. We have some electives. We do partner with SETC. We have some students, a handful of students who are involved with that program, and they come over to us. We do, and you all have heard about our partnership with Allen Wire, the Next Step program. We have 12 students who currently are involved with that, who are with us in the morning, and then they work for Allen Wire in the afternoon. It's been an outstanding program, and we're looking to expand that even more. Like I said, the number one goal for New Horizons is for our students to graduate. Last year we had 48 students graduate from New Horizons. That's outstanding. I like this number. Since 2003, we've had 584 graduates from New Horizons. That's outstanding. Number two, our second goal is to help students develop those life skills. We're trying to work with them on organization, working well with others, time management. It's a struggle for a lot of students. And also how to be a productive citizen. We're trying to lower our dropout rate. That's always a challenge for us. And also we're working on attendance as a goal at New Horizons. Currently, we have 55 students who are in the New Horizons High School. That number will go up. I think last year we ended with 78. So as the school year goes, those numbers will go up. Any questions about New Horizons?
Can I ask about your success rate with the partnership? Is it the next step?
Next step, yes.
Okay, so 12 is a lot because they've got a ceiling on how many they can have in that program anyway. Or the kids from the alternative school, are they successful, or are you seeing some of them come back into the alternative school because they're not?
We've had just a few. Let's see, we've started that program in January of 2016, so
Yes.
almost 2 years ago. We've had a few students who had to return for whatever reason, but a large percentage of our students are in that program, have graduated out of that program. Once they graduate high school, they're finished with that program.
Right.
So, yeah, we've seen a lot of success with it. Attendance of those students, drastically different. Their attendance before they went into the program was a lot lower than what they were after they're in that program.
Yeah, 'cause
they
they
have to be
can't
in
be in,
school
yeah.
to work that
Right.
day.
They get paid.
Yeah.
Have there been or maybe what percentage you think of those students have actually gone to work for Allen Wire? Oh, okay.
Yeah, what?
I mean, because I know Alan originally mentioned that it could lead to that possibly. Has that happened?
Yes.
Yes. We have a few students who are working full-time there. We have a few of our students who are now going to school during the day or in the morning and work for Allen Wire 8 hours after that. We have a few students who do that. Let me talk about the third program. It's our Suspension Alternative Center program, SAC. A lot of people call it the trailer. Suspension school is for high school students who have had a history of habitual discipline referrals. Students are assigned to that program. They're assigned from the high school over to the board office. We get the paperwork on them, and they come to us in that program. The goal of the program is for students to work to achieve the number of credits needed to graduate. The program is completely computer-based with the ALS computer software. It's a half-day program. We have students who attend the morning session, 8 to 11, then the afternoon session, 11:30 to 2:30. We have the boys and the girls separated, so we have a boys' classroom and a girls' classroom. Those students have the opportunity, if they meet those criteria with good behavior, the attendance, and the grades, to transition into New Horizons inside the building, into that program. And that happens occasionally. We'll have some students who at January will transfer into the high school. Okay. Last year, we had 58 total students in the program. This year, we have currently 36. That's boys and girls together, including both sessions. And again, those numbers will go up a little bit as the school year goes The information I like to share is in that program last year, total, we had 142 credits achieved. So those students are in there, they're working. We have some outstanding teachers who oversee that program. And we'll have students graduate out there from that program all the time. So they are busy and they're getting their work done. Any questions about the SAC program?
I just have kind of a general question. Did you used to have like in-school suspension where the elementary to 8 at the alternative center? Did that used to be housed there?
We have our own ISS room, but we also have what's called behavior intervention, where students come over there, and that's from 5th grade on up. It's not the elementary one, because they go to their own ISS rooms. So, but a student might be assigned, let's say they get in some type of altercation, they might be assigned to our BI room for, it might be 5 days, or 7 days, or 8 days, whatever.
Okay, didn't something get moved to the 5th and 6th grade center?
Oh, I know the program you're talking about, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm wondering.
That was for special education students who were referred there to our program. Yeah.
Okay, was that because they had behavioral, so there were IEPs with behavioral?
Students that had an IEP that were had behavior issues.
Okay, is there a reason that that's no longer there at the alt school?
Mr. Krager, you might be able to speak to that.
Yes, several reasons. One is we thought and still hope someday that that room that we moved them out of would be a lower grade level room for the alt school. And we used to start at 3rd grade. And now we start at 5th grade, and it's combined 5th and 6th. And, the principals and a lot of teachers still feel we need an regular alternative classroom for lower grades. So that didn't happen yet, because of the budget, but it's still on our wish list, I think. That's one reason. The other is there were no other special ed teachers there, so the teacher was kind of isolated. By going to 5th and 6th grade, there's 4 or 5 others that they can work with and learn to do their job with and collaborate. Yeah. And it's more centrally located. And the students who happen to be in 5th and 6th grade, which is not all of them, but it's a percentage of them, can be mainstreamed into other things much easier. Because in the alt school, you don't really have a lot of other normal regular classes, I should say, you can put a student in. As they begin to get better at what they do, they can earn their way into a elective class or something, and you really don't have those to pick from there.
Have you found that that's happening now that you've moved it over to the 5th and 6th grade, that those goals that you were hoping to have happen, has that been happening? Are they streamlining? Are they meeting with the other, IEP special ed teachers over there? Are the goals being reached, I guess, is my question.
I wouldn't say they've been reached yet. Of course, we're still in the first quarter, but those are the things that we're still working on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for Jeff? Thank you, Josh.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
If you want to be a judge at our chili cook-off, let me know. That's next week, Red Ribbon Week.
They'll be there.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff. Good job.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Next, we have Mr. Larry White, the Transportation Director, who will present the Transportation Report.
My name's Larry White. Nice to meet y'all. I'd like to take a minute to brag on all the people at Transportation Department. These are special people. I mean, they deal with people from preschool all the way up to adults. And they're wonderful people. I don't know if you all have ever got to meet them. Take time to meet them sometimes. They're wonderful. Anyway, the October Transportation Projection Report. The Transportation Department is currently running 20 buses daily for the purpose of transporting students to and from school. There are 73 separate routes for the 8 school districts and the school sites in the district. The average number of eligible students transported daily is estimated at 3,800. I think you've got 1,900, but you got to double that. That's a lot of kids. The eligible route miles driven are estimated at 214,000 miles. The ineligible route miles driven are estimated at 8,000 miles. Ineligible route miles include the grandmother program for the elementary schools, the EC program, the after-school tutoring program, and the sports shuttle. Ineligible trip miles are estimated 53,000 miles for the regular 17-18 school year. That's all I got.
That's a lot in one paragraph.
Yeah.
That's a bunch.
Any questions for Mr. White? Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank
you, sir.
Next, we have the Librarian Media Report, and Ms. Terry Williams is going to present that.
Try to keep mine as concise as I did. I'm sure you all have copies of our evaluations. Oh, Tony, thank you for being here. Tony Howe, she's the librarian at the 5th and 6th grade center, for those of you that didn't know. I'm sure you have copies of our evaluations of the 2016-17 goals, and then, of course, our goals for this current school year is 17-18. The way we come up with the goals and the evaluations are mainly through surveys that are taken each spring. We use SurveyMonkey, they're given to the staff, and the students get grades 3 through 12, complete them online. Second, first, and kindergarten still just use paper, pencil. Like I say, and that helps us quite a bit with writing the goals and the evaluations of that year's goals. Something we did find from the surveys, which we usually do, is that the kindergarten and elementaries would certainly like to have full-time someone in their libraries where someone is available in there to check books out to students all day, every day during the school days. Something else on the surveys noted that the librarians and assistants are helpful and friendly when they're in the library. That they show that the libraries are used frequently by staff and students. Do you all have any questions?
I may not be remembering correctly, surprising, but did I read that you are waiting to get some type of information about whether the library media and materials are helping the grades, basically, helping students to be prepared? Did I read that that's one of the goals, to do well on
well, we do
mapping
collaborate with teachers. Maybe that's the one you're referring to.
To meet, let's see. It said you hadn't gotten the data yet. I remember
Okay.
reading that you had not gotten that information yet. And I
Right,
wondered
usually, of course, we take the spring test results to help us with our evaluation, but of course, this year we don't have, Jody, help me out here, we don't have.
Because of the Algebra 1 and English 2 debacle at the state
Yeah.
level,
Yes.
we didn't have the data she totally needed for this report since it's a district-wide report. When Ms. Williams and I sat down and talked about her
Right.
presentation for tonight.
So, okay, so you can't, it's all put together, you can't dissect like your assessments through the year and say, well, this is working well with our yearly assessments. You're putting it all in one report.
Right, and usually that is how we do it. Once those state results come in, then we do say, well, there was an increase in so-and-so and so-and-so. These subjects didn't see an increase, but obviously this year we haven't been able to do that.
And you won't.
Right.
That's what I'm, my understanding is there's not going to be any way to really do it. We haven't heard.
Not
at
an
least.
honest, true reflection of everything.
Yeah. But it's still a goal for next year.
Certainly.
So hopefully we will have accurate.
And we always
accurate way to do it.
collaborate with the teachers, and then the results of that collaboration is hopefully some higher test scores.
Thanks.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Next, we have the 2016-2017 dropout data. Ms. Hollyfield.
Yes. You all have on your board docs, you can see the information there. It goes back to 2003. One thing that I do want to point out there is, you'll see that we are up. We are at 1.88, but still we're talking about 1.88%. Our goal, we want to always try to keep it below 3. If you look down there, you will see transfers in 175, transfers out to 10, which puts dropouts at 17, and there's a nice little kind of formula there that figures that we have 1.88% dropouts. Last year we were at 1.66. I would just refer back to about 2009. You can see, I believe, was our highest. No, 2004 was 2.8. 2009 we were at 2.5, and then we drastically in the 13, 14, and even 15 there were much lower than we are now. But still, again, I want you, that is a 1.88%. So we're still really doing well with that. And I want to also say I contribute that success, a lot of that, to our alternative center.
Any questions on the dropout data?
Do we have any idea why they're dropping out? Do we follow up to see? I know some of them may be disciplined, but
I would say that there'll be some that is disciplined. I mean, 1.88%. I know we've had a couple of, sometimes they move and we can't follow up, but there's some transient type seems to be in this situation here too. But I would say a lot of it is probably either discipline or academic. They're failing academically, and therefore they.
but if they move, do they count against?
No.
us?
Well, if they don't,
Transfer out.
yeah.
If they move like from here to,
Yeah,
let's say,
another
Cape
district.
Girardeau.
No,
it
that's
would be
just a transfer out.
However,
Okay.
and this used to be the case with the GED program, because if kids go to the GED program, that's kind of as a dropout, which to me doesn't make any sense, because you know the GED program is pretty stringent type of coursework. However, our GED program, we don't have it like we used to here. It's not set up, although they do have options to go other places too.
Three Rivers offers GED, but we don't have it
Mhm.
the district level here with our adult education.
Is the dropout age, were they
17.
17?
Yeah. They moved that, oh gosh, I don't remember, 6, 7 years ago, I think it used to be 16, they moved it up to 17.
They're talking about moving it again.
I haven't heard that. I don't know. Moving up to 18 and they drop out, take away their driver's license and stuff like that. I know that they've talked about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's been a
I heard a little
conversation.
double of that, but
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
Again, I just credit our alternative center for, you heard them talk a lot about, you know, we are definitely catching a lot of the students that could easily have fallen through the cracks. We still have better, we can do better, but I think we do a pretty good job with that.
If a family elects to homeschool, is that considered a dropout?
No.
It's a transfer.
That's a transfer, just,
Yeah, transfer to homeschool.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the long-awaited map and EOC overview. And Mr. May is going to give what information he can share.
Thank you. I do have some information, not as much as I usually have. First of all, I apologize. On the report I gave you, the asterisks that indicated the scores that didn't include English 2 or Algebra 1, those asterisks somewhere disappeared during some reformatting. So I will tell you that the ELA scores, the 2015, 16, and 17 do not include English 2. And the math scores for 15, 16, and 17 don't include Algebra 1. I have those scores, but to make them where we can compare them across years, I took those out. That's how the state's going to be doing it when they do our APR report. If you've had time to look at this, you'll see that we have had steady gains across the board in ELA and math. Very pleased to see that. In social studies, we were down a little bit compared to 2016, but compared to 2015, we're still higher than we were then. A little concerned about science. I wouldn't say worried necessarily, a little concerned. We are planning on hitting elementary science and social studies hard this year. We really need to do some curriculum revision there, so that's one of our goals is to work on that. I spent quite a bit of time talking to this group today about some of our plans, so I think that we'll be able to address some of that. And they'll be helping us with that. Libby will, and also Wanda and Libby will be helping us with the science and social studies revisions as well as the academic principles. The individual building scores is below that, You'll notice too that we showed growth in ELA and math everywhere except for junior high overall, and then we showed a slight decrease in the math subgroup at 5th and 6th grade. But overall, the scores across the board were very good. And I apologize for the print being a little small. I was trying to squeeze it all in there. So blow it up some, put your glasses on, hopefully you can look at that. Talking about science too, junior high in 5th and 6th did show decreases in science this year, which again is my concern, but we are planning on working on that. Biology did show an increase, so we're happy with that. I will tell you, I don't have any area district comparisons yet. That's part of what Mr. Williams was talking about. At this point, a lot of our scores are delayed, And so as soon as I'm able to get the comparisons, I'll be happy to share with you. Along that same line too, our APR report that we usually have about this time is delayed until November. So once we get that, I'll be happy to share with you. I will say that I did go through, just because I wanted to get some comparison, I did look at our comparison with the state, and I will tell you that our gains as far as reducing the distance between our scores and the state average, that we have made gains in the area, ELA and math both. So I'm very pleased with that. I'd like to show you one more document if I could, and I've got paper handouts if you'll bear with me.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
This is just from a layman's
Sure.
view of the curriculum. Do you think some of those decreases were maybe because of our focus on math?
I think that's exactly what it is.
I mean, we were super laser focused on those, and we really made some large strides there. It's hard to be focused on.
And then this past year, we spent quite a bit of time on ELA. Yeah, I know for a fact that's what, at least that's what I think it is. In elementary, we put a big focus on ELA and math. I know 5th grade, which has the science test, 5th has also been putting a big focus on ELA and math too. And some of the things we've done in the past with science, I think it's kind of been a little lax because that focus has been on there too. So I think it won't be hard for us to go back and look at our science standards, look at our learning targets, and be able to put that focus back.
I tell you, the elementary schools are up across the board.
Yes.
In every category.
Yeah, I was really pleased with those scores. Thank you. Matthews had a huge gain this year. Yes.
Some of that may be even though it's a focus school, but it makes them focus essentially on that, and that I don't know.
It did, and the money that goes along with that allowed them to do some things
right.
With assessment, instruction as well.
That was fantastic.
And so it was great.
Yeah.
The document I gave you, if you were to see SIP, I apologize for the repeat report here, but this just shows our reports by, our gains by grade level. I did a little different. For CSIP, we look at the percentage of students who are proficient or advanced. And so if you look at the scores that are highlighted in green, those are the areas we met our goal. Our goal was to decrease the number of kids who aren't proficient by 10%. The scores in yellow are where we made gains but didn't meet our goal. And even though we didn't meet our goal in a lot of places, we made gains almost everywhere. And so I was very pleased with that. You'll notice too, you do have English 2 and Algebra 1 scores. I did put those on there even though we're not supposed to compare those. But I wanted to see where they were. We did show decreases there, still I wanted to show you those. A couple things too I want to point out. Again, for 8th grade, I did not include the Algebra 1 scores on that. So that is, actually I lied, I didn't include the Algebra 1. But Desi's not counting those, is what I was going to say on those. So those do include those Algebra 1 scores. And you can see we showed a gain there, even though you're not supposed to compare those across that. Physical science too, I know the physical science score is low, but we did beat the state average in that, which shows you how rigorous and difficult the test is. So that was interesting too. And one more thing I thought of as I was talking, on the other sheet I gave you too, I probably should have mentioned that on that overall sheet, the assessment changed in 2015, so that's why you'll see a drop in scores from 14 to 15. That occurred statewide because it was a different test. And I meant to mention that earlier. All right, I feel like I breezed this quickly. Any questions? Sorry.
When we're looking at this data, to be able to see, because when you look at this, really you're talking about different classes of kids, right?
That's correct.
So, the 2017 class did better than the 2016 class. That's what we're...
In that particular grade level or school.
So can you break it down? Can you make a report that shows like a certain class, like the class that graduates in 2025, whatever, what their scores are, like starting in 3rd grade, and see if that class, are they making an increase every year?
Yes. I actually have that data. It's not complete, but I do. I've been keeping it. I haven't necessarily been sharing it, but I keep it for my own benefit. A couple things to mention. I can share that with you. If you want me to email it to you, I'll be happy to do so. What I do is I do the score. I write the scores. You have to be careful comparing the scores from one, because you're comparing kids across as they move through different grade levels, and because the tests are different, just comparing a proficiency or an MPI score from one year to the next, you have to be a little careful with that. I also did include on that report the state average too, and how we've narrowed or increased the gap in places too, so that's on that report as well. But I think the report is almost finished, so I can probably share that with you guys tomorrow, or to you guys.
I think that'd be
Yeah.
really interesting.
I only have it for ELA and math, I don't have it for science. Of course, again, you're skipping several grade levels with the science test, but I do have it for ELA.
How far back can you go? Like what
I've got it from the seniors all the way down to the fourth graders. So I can go back to the seniors when they were in third grade.
It'd just be interesting to see, is there a grade that maybe kids are struggling in? Like, is it,
I see what
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
to see where maybe there's some problems or something. I
Like
don't
when
know.
every group of kids hit the 8th grade. or
Right, are they
something.
really
Yeah, I see what
struggling
she's
in
saying.
8th grade?
And I'm
Yeah.
trying to think if that really stands out. I'd have to look at it and see, but I can share with you guys so you can see. I will tell you that the results are somewhat mixed on that too. You can see where we've narrowed the gap in places, it's increased in places too, so it's not necessarily just a home run on that. Or on the other side, it's not necessarily a bad report either, but it does kind of go up and down as they go forward. But yeah, I can share with you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
You're welcome.
Next, we have the enrollment as of October 2nd, 2017, and you can hold your applause down here, but we are up one student from the previous month. We're at 3361, and we're at 3360 last month. As I put in the notes, you can see that our elementary did increase. We did have a slight decrease in that of our secondary, and we also did pick up a couple students at the alternative school. So, 3361, we're up one student over the previous month, so let's continue to grow with that. Before I go into the board policy consideration, I did not include discipline this month. And there's a reason for that, is I'm minus a secretary. And so what I'll do is I'll combine this month and then also next month in the November board packet. Number 8, we had the board policy consideration with a local amendment, and that's ADF. And I think many of you remember ADF because that's the district wellness program. Ms. Boardman got up and shared with you that particular policy. And now we have a local amendment to that. So, and she shared that with you. I believe you should have.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize for the lateness. We got this information confirmed Friday morning about 9 a.m. So, and we'll bring back to you some language and some cleanup on this. But this was not popular. We had to adopt a policy in June. We had to adopt it by July 1, 2017. I had questioned the policy that we received several times on a couple of things because I had some concerns, and basically we got to a point that we ran out of time. We had to adopt something, and I promised the board that we would go back and review it in the fall. Well, it just so happened in June, you adopted it on a Tuesday night meeting, and I went to the State Department meeting Wednesday morning and walked into a wellness class at 8 a.m. and went, oh, I wish you'd have had this last week. So we had our state review last week. We spent 4 days with a reviewer from DESE. It's a lot of fun. And we learned a lot, but when she walked through the door, I said we have to, even if we have to do this at night, we're going to sit down and we're going to look at our wellness policy because, in my opinion, it does not have to be this strict. So there was some confusion between the MSBA policy and what USDA basically said we had to adopt. So that's the sentence that is highlighted that says, in addition, the Smart Snack standards apply to all food and beverages provided but not sold to students outside of the reimbursable school meals during the school day. That does not have to be Smart Snack compliant. Foods that are sold do have to be. So we are being very strict. Now, we still are supposed to encourage that we do non-food rewards and think outside of the box on what is distributed to students, but it is not mandated that we follow those strict Smart Snack guidelines and put every single thing that we provide to a child in that Smart Snack calculator. So we do, when the Wellness Committee meets, we will sit down and develop standards, and we will, but it can be as simple as, our standards are that We encourage non-food rewards, and we promote healthy snack options in the store. It does not have to be Smart Snack compliant. So she gave me the information that I needed from USDA. We have it in our hand, and we can put that local amendment in. And then in turn, once the new policy is adopted next month, then we'll rewrite our administrative procedures. And everybody in the district, including myself, will be much happier.
Yeah, so this is just to say, this is not, we're changing.
We're changing, that's the sentence. Everything else in the policy is fine. We didn't have any, the procedure's a little bit different.
So it really just loosens the food that is not sold to kids.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the food that's sold, if it's sold at a school store, or if it's sold in a vending machine, it's still compliant. But that wasn't anything new. This was provided. This is where we were going to have to argue if we wanted to bring the Yum Yum Shack in to celebrate the end of math testing.
Right.
Or the teacher wanted to hand out peppermints as part of the testing program,
Right.
or, you know.
Right, or if Ms. Hotchkiss wanted to have her Great Gatsby celebration at the end of that unit. I mean, it was, we knew it was over the top, but we had just been misdirected, and now we have the clarification to back up our local amendment without getting in trouble or losing our federal funding. That was our concern. We had to have something in place July 1, so our free and reduced kids were protected, so.
How much was that federal funding?
In that program, it's almost $2 million.
Cool.
Any questions on the local amendment? And we'll bring that before the board for a vote next month. Going into required action, request permission to schedule an executive session to discuss personal matters immediately following this meeting.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Guess we need to do a roll call.
Do you mind?
Oh, me?
Well, I mean, I can.
Someone.
Mr. Brownhecker?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Mr. Lees? Yourself?
Mr. Yes.
Kyle? And me, yes.
Okay, we have the approval of paid bills through September 2017. It's a recommendation of administration to approve those paid bills. We need to do this through roll call.
So moved.
Second.
I have a question. On Midwest Gymnastics Art for $4,000, how often are we paying that?
Just one time. It's a $4,000 flat fee, I believe it is.
Correct. Annually, yes.
Yep.
Okay, so we're paying for gymnastics for our cheerleaders, correct?
Remember this discussion a couple years ago?
Well, I don't remember, that's why I'm asking again.
Okay.
Because I couldn't remember at the time
Yeah.
what we said. But my question is, because I was thinking about this today, how do we justify that? Because we are paying for our cheerleaders to take gymnastics to get better at their activity. What about our baseball players or volleyball players or anyone else that wants to go to Balls and Strikes?
Well, Heather, the best way to answer that question in my mind is when we start reviewing the budget information as we have begun doing, I think those things need to take it into consideration. What's needed, what's not needed, what do we need to do that's best for the programs, academically, athletically, and I think that's something that needs to be reviewed.
Okay, can we make a note of that
It's noted.
to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I just have one other question. What was the textbooks for $63,000 to Great Minds? What did we buy?
Excuse me, I'm talking good.
Was that the social studies?
No, that's the math. That's the math journals that we purchased. And also, I don't have, I guess I can look at it and see.
Oh, don't tell me
Yeah, but can I see it though for a minute? Because I'm like, where's that?
I'm not sure what page.
What page is that on, Heather?
What page is it?
It was on page
Page
6.
six.
Page 6. I'm pretty sure those are the math journals.
It's for elementary. And
Yeah, the Great Minds would all be, yeah, those are going to be the journals. Yes.
What were the textbooks other for $24,000 then?
that also there? I'm looking
Yeah.
for it.
It's included in the 63,000.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Textbooks, the replacement books, Lori? It's, there's not one. Just says textbooks, is that replacement? No,
That's where we have to break them down by grade level. It would have been one of the series purchases,
because that's still with Great Minds.
yes.
I'm honestly not sure.
We'll probably just have to look up the
See.
PO. Because part of it could be replacement, but I actually think part of that's going to be part of a series.
Would it be replacement with Great Minds?
Does it have a 931 in it?
I don't see a code at all. Am I missing it totally, or?
There's no code.
No,
There's
no,
no
Mr.
code.
Patrick.
But see, it's with Great Minds, so it would have to be something.
It has to be
Yeah.
that, yeah. All textbook other is, Heather, is where when we actually place the order to get it in a timely manner, we'll have a district level code that we don't have the grade level breakdown yet to know that we ordered 24 for 4th grade and, 39 for this grade. So we'll put it to textbook other and eventually we break it down. So textbook other doesn't mean it's another type of textbook. It means it's an other location or unknown at the time.
It's almost got to be 5th and 6th, because that's not listed on the breakdown.
Yeah.
And we ordered books at 5th and 6th. I shouldn't say.
We'll look it up. I'll look it up and I'll send
My
out,
guess
I'll
would
send
be-
out an
Okay,
email.
thank you.
My guess would be 5th and 6th.
All the other distinctions are all elementary.
Yeah, we ordered, and 5th and 6th is the only other building that had Great Minds materials. So that's why I think that's probably 5th and 6th.
Motion to approve?
Yeah,
Do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Roll call vote.
Yep, we need to do a roll call, if that's okay. Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
And yes. I mean, abstain. Oh, what the heck? Abstain. Just got into a roll there.
Hey Lori, one question on this. Instead of the PDF, is there a way to get this in Excel so you just kind of filter and look at certain things easier? Or do you provide this?
We provide it out of our SysFin program, our financial program. You can convert it to Excel, but it's not very pretty. It automatically, it has a convert to PDF. You can export it to Excel, but it's about a 7-step process to make it look like anything.
All right.
Third item is the approval of the substitute teacher report.
We need to do roll call for that as well.
Yes.
Yes. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Crumpler?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Abstain.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Alcorn?
Yes.
Yes. And you got me for abstaining on that last one, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Can't take it back.
Can't take it.
Don't take backsies.
Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Pastor.
Move to the consent agenda items and the approval of the following minutes: work session, September 12th, 2017, regular session, September 12th, 2017, executive session, September 12th, 2017, executive session, September 20th, 2017, work session, September 26th, 2017, executive session, September 26th, 2017, approval of 2017-2018 bus routes, approval of the career ladder plan, ratification, let's see, ratification of the support staff report, ratification of extra duty assignment report, and the sale of surplus property pursuant to policy BNAP textbooks.
Make a motion, we accept the consent agenda items.
I guess so. Second.
A motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, this just came to my attention. That executive session minutes are wrong. There's a name that's wrong on there.
Which one?
Which one, Heather?
September 26th.
where are we at?
Just look at the second paragraph.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
first.
first name's wrong.
Oh, yes.
Sure is. That's work session.
What would be,
Where's the, here?
here, it'd be on back.
Yeah.
26th, September 26th, executive session.
Well,
Is that it right there?
no, I have the 12th.
The 12th. This is a regular session. Oh, here it is, right here.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And on the September 12th executive session minutes, I think that actually the issue that we discussed at that meeting was I requested it be on the agenda, and it wasn't me that spearheaded that, President Tom, to discuss the personnel matters.
September 12th, right, executive session?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I asked that be on the agenda and brought the information to everybody.
So you're, it's,
I can just replace my name with Tom. and Tom.
so we need to make a motion.
So I made a
Friendly,
motion
friendly
to,
amendment to the motion.
So I'll make an amendment.
Well, I have another, as I was looking through this, it was going through on September 12th during regular session. It states here the media representative was Leona Haring of the Standard Democrat.
She wasn't here.
No, they haven't been here, so that needs to be removed as well.
And what date was that?
That was on the regular session, September 12th.
Yeah, we did, sure, that's what I'm asking.
Do we vote to adjourn?
No, we haven't voted, it was a motion and a
We
second, but we did.
We voted it, yeah,
You voted.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
Then
Well,
what I can do is, why don't I go ahead and put those back on the agenda?
Next month?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't get my thoughts together fast enough.
well, we all followed suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's fine, we'll fix it.
Good, and somebody else can take notes.